Okay, so this is where I'm going for my walk today. Myrtle Edwards Park, or at least part of way down the path. And I'm still in Seattle. Right now you can't really see because the trees to my right. But out this way is a little area that lets you come down, right down to the Sound's edge. You can see people down here on the beach and watching the water. In the spring and summer, they have to put up signs to let people know not to bother the sea lions if they come up onto the beach. And that's kind of the view of the Sound. You can see over there the other pier, and there's a fishing pier a mile up and around the walkway. And up over the trees there, across Alaskan Way, you can see some of the business offices. And peeking through the trees is the Space Needle. But I usually come down here and walk fairly regularly. It is actually a nice fall day to do it because it's not raining. And it's fairly quiet for Saturday afternoon. During the week, depending on time of day, you'll see people that come over from the offices and stuff over on Alaskan and come down and want a break from the city, coming out, and they're either walking or jogging or bicycling or just finding a nice comfortable place to sit and look at the view and people watch. Oh, I hear a train. Oh, goody, coming up around here, we can see the mountains a bit. Stop a little bit. Let's see. There we go. One of the warning signs for the little beach we were just at is at certain times of year they will come up onto the beach down there and want to sun and rest. And they are wild. They're not domesticated sea lions. So. And all along the walkway, the path, as you can see before, splits, and the bicyclists pretty much use the other path. It is for people walking. Someone's out with their Brittany Spaniel playing with their puppy. Their little puppy. This is one of the green spaces. In the summertime, you'll see lots of people out here stretched out on the grass getting some sun. And we have a beautiful sky today. Pretty clouds, no rain. as you can see, the walkway just kind of follows the water's edge. I'm going to cut over to this bench over here and sit so I can be still for a minute. For those of you that have checked out my blog, you know I walk a lot for exercise. And to give you some concept of how far I am away from my apartment, which is back that way in the distance, up the hill, about 1.5 miles away from my apartment. And back there is the port of Seattle. You have alpine things across the water there. Open the Sound. And you can see a ferry way back there in the distance. I'm not sure where it's coming back from, if it's coming from the San Juans or Gig Harbor. But as you can see, it's a beautiful park to go for a walk in. And way over there in the distance, you can make out another bigger marina than the one I shot earlier. And that's a couple more miles. This winds around back. It goes past the pier down there and banks further right where the warehouse buildings are down there. It's a water inlet. You've got to go way around all that. It's about another, well, from this point I'm not sure. From my apartment down to where that marina is and back to my apartment is almost 14 miles. And I do that walk about once every 2 months or so, the full distance. But this is Myrtle Edwards Park, and there's some sculpture rocks there. At the other end where the park begins is Seattle Art Museum did a sculpture park, so up the hill from this path there's a walkway up to it. There's these huge modern sculptures, so if that's your kind of thing. And down here on this other little beach inlet, looks like someone's playing with their dog in the water. Actually, where I can see it whirling around down there. Try to get a better view. But this is really a nice park, and yet you're still in the city. I got down here by cutting through the Pike Place Market, cross First, cross Western, hung a right on Western, went down to Lenora where I can get the one set of steps. There's several places every few blocks if you want to go from the water's edge back up to the downtown part of Seattle where you can do that. Some of them even have elevators, so if you're with someone who's in a wheelchair, they can get down to the water and get back up. You always see people out here with strollers and dogs and all sorts of stuff. But it's kind of beautiful to get out when you want to get away from the city, but yet don't want to spend all day in the car to drive somewhere else. If you're visiting Seattle and you're in the downtown area, or live in the area and want a place to go for a beautiful walk. Admittedly, this is not a great walk on rainy days, just because you're completely exposed out here and you will get very, very wet. Some days it's just rainy and drizzly. Some days it's rain, like we're in autumn now, so when it hits winter, you'll have more days where it's really kind of dark gray skies, heavy rain, blustery, and can be kind of unpleasant. But fall, late spring through summer, this is really kind of a gorgeous place to go to walk, to get away from everything. I see a seagull bobbing out there on the water looking at me. And you can sit and watch the boats or whatever. Every now and again, sometimes they don't come up as close to the shoreline, but sometimes you'll see in the distance various whales, the occasional pelican, Canadian geese you'll see a lot of in the spring along the shoreline. So it's just a nice outdoor walk. Great place to go for a jog or good walk. The path is well paved. It's has a little bit in a couple places where there's a slight grade, but it's not anything overwhelming. It's a nice, easy walk. They keep it well maintained. And you get this great view with it. And that's all for now, I guess.